Good morning. Welcome back from spring break. Sorry I'm not with you. I will be back tomorrow. I extended my spring break a little bit. Hope y'all had a great week off and are ready to come back for a new 9 weeks. This is it, folks. This is the last 9 weeks. So we have got to start it off with a bang. We got to get this quiz, and everybody, I want you to do well on this quiz Tuesday. So we are reviewing rational equations, solving these fractions, making sure you know how to do this. We have done it for several days. So some of you have already finished the worksheet that I'm going to be doing. Some of you have not. So that will be part of the assignment, and I have a puzzle, and for those who have finished the worksheet, I have a different worksheet for you to work on. So starting out, you can see I have 3 websites I want you to visit first before we do anything with me doing any problems. These are websites with other teachers going through problems. Sometimes it helps just to hear it from a different person. Sometimes it helps just to see it a different way. So I want you to watch these 3 videos. You have a sheet that the sub has given you to answer questions on each video. So where you are on my website, there was a tab you went into to get this, to pull up this to watch this video. I want you to pause this video. I want you to go to that same Math 3 tab under my website, and I want you to pick the other one that says the websites to use for this lesson. And then you're going to click into those links, watch those, answer the questions. There's 3 of them. Once you finish those 3, come back into this video and continue watching and following me. Now, I'm going to start with problem 1. I got to erase first because I've already got it. Okay, so starting with problem 1, I'm going to solve this rational equation. Again, we have an x, a 4, and a 2, so I'm going to multiply by the denominators. 4, 2, and x. 4, 2, and x. 4, 2, and x. Now, x's will cancel here, so I've got 8 times 12 is 96. 4's will cancel here, so I've got 2x times 3 is 6x. I have 2 that cancels here, so 4x times 3 is 12x. Now our next step is to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. 96 equals 6x. And then we divide by 6. X equals 16. Now remember, we have to check and make sure our denominator, that the 16 doesn't make it 0. Our restriction here would be x cannot equal 0. So this is 16, so it works as a valid answer. Okay, so I've done number 1 on the worksheet. Now I'm going to skip number 2 and go to number 3. Again, I got to erase because I've already done all this. Okay. Now, before I do the next one, just to make sure you're watching, I would like for you, when you get to this point, to stand up and do 1 jumping jack by your desk. 1 jumping jack. Now, we're going to do problem number 3. All right, we've got 5 and 5x. So our denominator we're multiplying by is 5x. 5x. Immediately you can see 5's cancel. So we just have x times 2x, which is 2x squared. Equals 5x's would cancel on that side. So we have x squared minus 5x. Now, this is where in our steps in our notebook in solving rational equations, we have an x squared and an x. It says set equal to 0. So that's what we're going to do first. And the only way to set this equal to 0 is get rid of the x squared and get rid of the 5x. So I have to subtract because it's positive. This is a minus, so I add. So if I do it to this side, I got to do it to this side. So 2x squared minus x squared will just be x squared. And I still have a 5x. There was nothing over here to match it up with. And now that equals 0. Now, the next step is factor. And this one will be just a GCF. X comes out, x plus 5. Still equals 0. Now, set factors equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, x equals negative 5. Okay, check our denominator. Our denominator was 5x. So 5x cannot equal 0. So if you divide by 5, then x cannot equal 0. So our restriction is 0. So that means we have to mark him out, and x equals negative 5 is our only valid answer here. Okay, now, just to check that you're still watching and listening, after this problem, I want you to stand up and just turn around in your space, and then have a seat. Thank you. Now we will go to number 6. Okay, let me finish erasing. I still haven't got it all. There we go. Okay. Now, factor at the bottom, x plus 2, x minus 2. Multiply by that denominator. So multiply this side by x plus 2, x minus 2. Multiply this one by x plus 2, x minus 2. And don't forget this one, x plus 2, x minus 2. And if you need to, put a 1 under there. Okay, now, cancel. 2x times x minus 2 is what's left on the left side. Now, on the right side, these would cancel, so we just have 1. Now, plus, we know that is x squared minus 4. So we're going to do 1 times x squared minus 4, which is just x squared minus 4. So multiply, distribute, 2x squared minus 4x equals 1 plus x squared minus 4. Combine like terms. Nothing over here, but 1 and negative 4 over here. So x squared minus 3. Now, set equal to 0. So subtract and add. Subtract and add 3. That'll leave me 2x squared minus x squared, just an x squared. Minus 4x plus 3. That goes to 0. Now we have to factor, because we have an x squared and an x. X and x gives me x squared. 3 and 1 would give me 3 when I multiply. What signs do I have to get a negative 4 if I add these numbers? A negative and a negative. Now, set factors equal to 0 to solve. So x minus 3 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. To solve here, you add 3 to both sides, so x equals 3. To solve here, you add 1 to both sides, so x equals 1. Now, do both of my answers really work? Well, we had x plus 2 cannot equal 0, and x minus 2 cannot equal 0. So subtract 2 from both sides, so x cannot equal negative 2. Add 2 to both sides, so x cannot equal 2. So here are my restrictions. Neither one of my answers is 2. I have a 3 and a 1. So they both work this time. Now, that is all the problems I'm going to walk through. You can now finish that worksheet. And like I said, if you've already finished it, then the sub has a different one for you to do. We also have a puzzle if you haven't done it. I think only a very few of you have worked on the puzzle. So everybody gets a puzzle to do, and this will be your homework if you are not finished with the worksheet and the puzzle. Both of those must be completed for tomorrow. When we come in on Tuesday morning, we will review and then take the quiz. So be ready with any questions you have. I hope you have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow.